I'll talk about working well, working hard, working fast, and working smart. I'll also talk about the differences between finance and marketing.
Several people asked me to tell my life story, as I did things considered very difficult or unbelievable. For example, my parents left school when they were 11 years old in Brazil when the country was under a dictatorship. But I have a bachelor's, a master's, an MBA, and a PhD, being a professor in the US now. That is one of the long journeys I faced to grow. I will talk about working well, hard, fast, and smart.
People used to tell me to be a good person. The idea is that, if I wanted to be successful, I needed to fit in, to adapt myself to the situation. So, they expected me to behave myself, to follow the rules, and to obey the authorities. Being different was a problem. They said that the nail that sticks out gets hammered down.
After that, I saw people suggesting a different approach, to work hard. In that case, effort was more important than fitting in or following the rules. The idea is that, if I worked hard enough, would be successful.
Next, I saw another generation that was focused on speed. With the world being more dynamic, they told me that I had to work fast, be quicker than others. The new path to success would be to work fast. Being ahead of others was critical. Being slow was a problem, and procrastinating became almost a crime.
So, I think those three approaches have some importance, but they are usually very dangerous. I think we can't ignore the rules of society totally. But we should deal with those rules, not obey them blindly. The main problem I see with that approach is that I could make others happy, but that wasn't good for me. I needed to think about my way of doing things, not following what society told me to do. Effort makes a difference. If I don't make any effort, I can't expect any results. However, many people seem to work hard to dig their own graves. They work very hard, but don't get anywhere, and are not appreciated. Speed is also important. But, if you try to move as fast as possible all the time, you will probably burn out. There are times when we should move fast, but there are also times to sleep, recover, take a breath, think, or just enjoy what is happening.
Trying to balance those three approaches means that I would make an effort to move frequently but not all the time at full speed. I also would consider the positive and negative effect that society or other people would have on my journey to succeed. Positive effects include networking to develop partnerships and alliances that will help me, especially to complement my efforts and fill the gaps I have in my knowledge and skills. Negative effects include worrying too much about what other people consider success, instead of thinking of my success.
The final stage is to work smart. To me, that means especially the direction I take. If I know how to take advantage of the rules of society, I work hard, I move, I can still have trouble if I'm moving in the wrong direction. Moving in the right direction is critical. A Ferrari is a great car, but it will just crash if you just quickly accelerate the car toward a wall. If you move in the right direction, even if you are slower than others, even if society thinks you're crazy, even if you are less disciplined than others, you still get better over time, getting closer and closer to what you defined as success for you.
To develop a plan to follow toward a direction, I saw two main approaches, one in finance and another in marketing. Financial planning is very focused on doing things to survive. As long as you survive, new opportunities will come for you to be more and more successful. So, financial planning thinks a lot about having enough to keep going. For example, they think about the equilibrium point. If you want to survive, you should not spend more than what you earn. They also think about debt. You can borrow money, but too much debt can make you bankrupt. People in finance also think about risk. We want to make money, but we need to be very careful about the risk. If the risk is too high, we may lose everything we have. So, financial planning focuses on survival. You should be worried about sustaining a good situation over time, the feasibility and viability of your projects, even if things go wrong.
Marketing planning is different. Survival is rarely a concern in marketing. Marketers often think about growing, and then the equilibrium point is not enough. Besides covering the expenses, they think about earning more, reinvesting, expanding, and sharing the results with the stakeholders. Although risk can be bad, the biggest risk in marketing is not taking risks. We need to take chances to succeed.
My experience is not the final answer to being successful, but I think it's a framework that allowed me to be more successful than people expected. Be selective about where you want to belong in society. Make an effort and try to be efficient, but moving toward your goals is more important than how much effort you make or how fast you move. Survival is critical, but pay attention to your opportunities to grow.